Hello and welcome to Sven Plays. Today I am checking out the mod Brutal Doom. For those of you who may be a bit younger and didn't play the original Doom back in its day when it pretty much birthed the FPS genre as we know it, it was something completely unprecedented and new at the time, and it was easily one of my favorite games as a kid, that and its sequel. So you might be wondering why I'm looking at playing such an old title now, when surely it's aged quite horribly. Well, it has in some respects, at least visually, that's where you'll see the most obvious difference. Let me first start off. I'm going to show you, before I show you the gameplay, let me show you what the original gameplay was like. So, as a point of comparison, this is Doom with its original MIDI music on, without the mouse look. I've still got the graphical enhancements on, but otherwise the actual textures are still the same as the original game. Right down to the fact that since you can't look vertically, they had to have auto-aim. And this is pretty much what attacking enemies was like. At the time it was groundbreaking, no one had ever seen anything like it before. And I remember spending loads of time playing this game and its sequel as a kid. So you might be wondering why I've been playing and replaying it now. Well, as you can see, it's still very playable. It's still a lot of fun. But, well, let me just show you what this mod does. I'm going to go on full ultra violence difficulty just because I'm not that great in games like this. These ones here are basically the replacement for the original Nightmare difficulty, where one adds like 50% bonus damage, one adds faster enemies, and one does both. I'm just going to go into full ultra violence, which was like the second hardest difficulty. So already off the bat, obviously I've got the mouse look, which is not necessarily a Brutal Doom edition, but it's useful. You may have noticed instead of the pistol, I've got like this assault rifle, and I can aim down the sight. And most significantly, the game has added, well, this mod has added headshots. Oops. You can see obviously that the gore has been ramped up considerably, but it runs much deeper than that. Like the gameplay changes with the addition of aiming down the sights on some weapons, alternate fire modes, and enemies now have new death animations and such. You may have noticed also the music is different, but that's because I've got another mod, the metal music mod on. Ouch. Yeesh. But you can see just how much more messy it is. I mean, when it says Brutal Doom, they're not fucking around. Oh, missed him. Ah, missed him again. And sometimes you can get things like if you don't cleanly kill an enemy, they'll stay there sort of on their knees, screaming and stuff like that. Oh wow, I am not doing good at all. And also, I've disabled mouse aiming. One of the other things that this 3D engine adds is normally you have the ability to jump and crouch. I've disabled that since, whoa, my objective ultimately is to beat the original Doom, and maybe Doom 2, the way it was. Well, not the way it was meant to be, because otherwise I wouldn't be using Brutal Doom, but having the ability to jump actually lets you access areas that in the original game you would not have been able to access, which I think would kind of tarnish the thrill of trying to figure out how to get to them. So I've disabled the jumping and crouching. That said, you can see the combat has changed up quite a lot. It's got all the little touches like damage being done to my screen. And the other thing you may have noticed is that the guns reload. I can actually cock them, for example. And with the addition of headshots, the replacement for the pistol, the assault rifle, is actually a viable weapon, even later in the game. So even if you find yourself desperate, you're not stuck. Oh, I missed one. There's that secret. I forgot. It's actually been almost 15 years since I last properly played this game. but I played it so much, so much. It's still pretty crisp in my memory as far as at least the early levels. Whoa! This is an example of a oh, other fun thing. You have a kick, the mighty boots. So as you can see, there's a lot of changes. Even right down to the way corpses can be kicked around if you hit them right, but I'm clearly not. I was doing it before. Ah, there you go. But it's just added a lot of modern trappings while keeping the core of what made the game great. I've chosen not to use any of the high resolution texture packs or the replacement sprites or even those 3D models, just because I still think there's a charm to the original graphics. I've just got these anisotropic filtering effects on from GZ Doom that just makes the textures look sharper over a distance. But yeah, I thought this could be something quite fun to do, is doing a series of me playing this old classic and just see how much I can remember. But it's also to highlight, this is what shooters used to be like. I feel like we've lost something in these newer linear, like super linear military style shooters and stuff. And I think there's, I mean, you guys have seen my playthrough of Shadow Warrior, I would think, where that's pretty much built on old school gameplay in a similar way. But this is the original game with just some enhancements. You can already see, that things like the map, like this, you actually map out the world as you move through. I don't generally use it, but it's there if I need it. And the game trusts me to know how to take cover myself. Here's the other thing. Parts of this game can be very dark, as in I can barely see what's in front of me. This predates dynamic lighting, and so even now it still creates great atmosphere with such simple tech. At the time it wasn't simple, but by today's standards it would seem quaint. But it's just so. Ooh. Oh, I think this leads to the chainsaw, if I remember right. It does. Look at that. Here's another fun thing that the mod does. I mean, as you may have noticed, it's obviously made everything else super brutal, as the name implies. But that applies not just to ranged weapons, but melee too. If I can find someone. Hello, bad guys. Ooh, messy. And the chainsaw just gets bloodied up. But there's also like executions in the game as well. So like every now and again when you kill them with your fists, you can trigger a brutal execution. It's kind of luck of a draw when it decides to happen. Although I've got to be careful because I obviously take more damage when I'm running up to their face to attack. Doesn't look like it's happening with these guys. Probably a little bit too weak. Oh well. I'll try to show you later if I remember. But, I mean, look at this map. Here is a distinct difference between modern military shooters and stuff like this. You can see it's a sprawling map and there's lots of paths I can go. And they kind of trust the intelligence of the player to figure out how to proceed. As opposed to having like signs going, go upstairs, and a little pointer eating you that way. So, no, I think there is still strength in this kind of design, and I'd like to see it continue to make a comeback with the indie games like Shadow Warrior. Ooh, no. But it's just also with these new sound effects and animations, just a mod made by one guy, I'd like to point out, has, for me, refreshed the gameplay enough that I actually want to replay the entire game. But I've been taking a pretty chill route. Oh. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you can no doubt see what this mod is all about, and this is what I want to do for my next Sven Play series. This is also going to be my chance to experiment with shorter episode format. So this right here will conclude this episode, but I'm going to try to make a point of putting them up at a more consistent rate and keeping them down to under 20 minutes if I can help it. So yeah, guys, if you are interested in what you've seen here, if you want to actually play it for yourself, which I do recommend, assuming you got a copy of Doom somewhere, which you can get on Steam for less than $10, you can buy like the id Software pack and get all of them. All you have to do is download GZ Doom, the Brutal Doom mod, which is just a mod file, and then you can use either GZ Doom by itself, or you can download a GZ Doom launcher that lets you configure multiple mod setups. So this Brutal Doom mod is in fact configurable with fan-made levels and mods as well. So depending on how popular this is and just how much I enjoy it, I'm thinking I'm going to do more like this. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. I hope you'll join me for the next part. I'm going to continue on with Brutal Doom. Oh, other fun thing.